All right, it's time to go over my top 10 wide receivers for week 6. We're getting right into the video here at number 10. I'm going Terry McLaurin. This is a guy that's starting to raise up onto my rankings, mostly because of what Jaden Daniels is able to do. We're seeing consistent deep shots down the field to Terry McLaurin. While yes, some of these we're not connecting with yet, but when they do come, Terry McLaurin could easily be a consistent top 10 wide receiver in our fantasy rankings to put up some nice solid numbers. This week, going against a Ravens defense that ranks 30th against opposing wide receivers. And like I was saying, as Daniels matures, McLaurin's numbers will continue to grow. He's going to be a wide receiver that you can rely on week in and week out. And this week, with the Ravens going against a bad Commanders defense and the Commanders going against a bad passing defense in the Ravens, this could be a back and forth matchup, which is going to keep all the offensive pieces onto the field and them just putting up numbers after numbers. Terry McLaurin could have a killer explosion of a week this week. I had to put him in here as my top 10. If you got him and you could slot him in as your wide receiver 2, 3, or flex play, do it. I think this is the week that Terry McLaurin makes you stop and go, whoa, this dude's a good wide receiver. I think Jaden Daniels, the connection is starting to build a little bit more. Week 6 is going to show you guys why I have Terry McLaurin in my top 10. Move right along here. At number 9, we're going AJ Brown, and being a little conservative with this. He's coming back from an injury, coming back off of bye week. He should be nice, healthy, and strong. The entire Eagles team in general is going to be coming back. Devonta Smith is coming back. AJ Brown's coming back. The left tackle Lane Johnson is going to be back. We still have Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley. The offense is put together. This week, they're taking on a Browns defense ranks 22nd against opposing wide receivers. He should be good to go this week, especially fresh. And after this bye week, he's fresh and ready to go. I think this week, he's ready to kind of amp up. He's like, I'm ready to be out here and to catch some footballs. I think it's not going to be a Devonta Smith week. It is going to be an AJ Brown week. He's going to be able to catch plenty of footballs for you guys. Depends on who's going to be playing across from him with matchups, but I think they're going to force feed AJ Brown the ball just because he hasn't been on the field too much, and Jalen Hurts wants to get his friend involved. So I like myself some AJ Brown here in week 6. Moving right along here at number 8, we're going DK Metcalf, and I know even though he had over 50 yards receiving last week, it was still a down week for DK Metcalf. He is a big part of this offense and a big reason of why Geno Smith is putting up the numbers that he's doing consistently for fantasy football. This is a week that I think DK Metcalf can really get back on track. This week going against a 49ers defense that ranks 11th against opposing wide receivers. Like I said, he's looking for a bounce back game. And don't hear what I'm not saying. A lot of times when you get like 55 yards receiving or whatever he had last week, when people get that, like, hey, he had a pretty good game. Not for DK Metcalf. This guy is putting up a 55-yard bomb in one play. He's doing crazy stuff. And against a opportunistic, I would say at this point, 49ers defense, they're just not clicking on all cylinders. So we have to see. It's going to be a good Thursday night football matchup that I think Geno Smith's going to come out there and kind of sling the football. DK Metcalf could be the respondent of that and put up some nice solid fantasy numbers, even though going against a 49ers defense. It's a divisional matchup, more of a tough kind of game, and I see DK Metcalf putting up some numbers for you easily in my top 10 this week in week 6. Move right along here at number 7. We're going Drake London. This is a wide receiver that even he's kind of, I would say at this point, being overshadowed by Darnell Mooney. But still, last week you saw that he can be dominant, right? If he's targeting Kirk Cousins being more comfortable into this offense, Drake London is clearly the number 1 guy. Darnell Mooney is clearly the number 2 guy, but they're the best options in this attack. Don't worry about Bijan Robinson catching the football or Kyle Pitts catching the football. It's all about these 2 guys from Kirk Cousins. And Drake London showed us last week he could be a top fantasy football wide receiver. This week, taking on a Panthers defense ranks 23rd against opposing wide receivers. He's getting plenty of work in this offense. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, wait, what about Darnell Mooney? Darnell Mooney is getting a crap load of work too. Both these guys had double-digit targets last week. Kirk Cousins is slinging this football, and Drake London is able to, he's a reliable wide receiver for you, right? I think he has a pretty safe floor for you overall. As long as the Kirk Cousins can keep up this motivation, the way that he's playing football, I think Drake London is easily a weekly starter week in and week out for you. I like myself some Drake London in week 6. Move right along here at number 6. We're going DJ Moore. Now, this is a wide receiver, I think the first time he's been in my top 10 this year, mostly because Caleb Williams is still having his growing pains. Now, Was it just because he was going against the Panthers last week, why he looked so good and was able to get DJ Moore over 100 yards receiving? Possibly, but if that's the case, then they got another case this week. They're taking on the Jaguars defense that ranks 32nd, dead freaking last in the NFL. Caleb Williams, he's becoming more confident. When confidence is happening with a rookie quarterback, he's going to get it to his playmakers. DJ Moore can take a 2-yard hitch route to the house, right? So going against a really bad defense last week, now going against a really bad defense this week, look for DJ Moore to have a similar role this week and coming out the gates and having a really good game for you. I like myself some DJ Moore. As long as Caleb Williams can continue to mature and be the quarterback that everybody thought he was going to be, number 1 overall pick, we'll see what happens, right? He's having the growing pains. We're just going to see what happens. Move right along here. At number 5, we're going Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, so this is a guy, coming off of a bye week now. He needs to be more consistent. And it's crazy for me to say that because Amon-Ra St. Brown, before the season, I would probably tell you he is the most consistent wide receiver in the NFL. Such a high floor, getting a lot of targets. My problem is that Jameson Williams is now onto the scene. I think Jared Goff is starting to fall in love with the strike potential of Jameson Williams to just go down the field and score in any given play. But this week, Amon-Ra St. Brown and the Lions are taking on a Cowboys defense that ranks 8th against opposing wide receivers. He's, like I said, he's not receiving the consistent targets that we're all used to him seeing, but I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is still a stud elite type of wide receiver. The thing is that when you're going deep on 1 or 2 play drives to Jameson Williams, there's not a lot of opportunity for Jameson Williams to catch the football. And then once they get a lead, they're just running the football out. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's fluctuation, right? It's like almost like a roller coaster ride so far, right? You have some good games, you have some bad games. When he's targeted, 10, 11 times, you see Amon-Ra St. Brown just blowing up. That's exactly what I think that could happen this week. I like myself some Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm a little bit backwards on Jameson Williams. I'm hoping Jared Goff targets Amon-Ra easily in my top 5 for week 6. Move right along here. At number 4, I'm going Jayden Reed. I told you guys before the season started, Jayden Reed was going to be the number 1 wide receiver for the Packers. Tucker Kraft was going to be the number 1 tight end for the Packers. And I was right on both of those accounts. I like it when I get some things right. Jayden Reed this week taking on a Cardinals defense that ranks 15th against opposing wide receivers. Packers offense is absolute clicking. Jordan Love coming back from the injury. He's really just on the cylinders, right? Bing, 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 bing. He's rocking and rolling. Even though he doesn't have Christian Watson, even last week Romeo Doubs was suspended. It doesn't matter. Jayden Reed, he's getting rushing, but he's almost like a miniature Deebo Samuel at this point. He's getting all the rushing yards. He's getting the pass attempts. He is a legit wide receiver. The way he can run the routes, get open, and then come down with the football, it's Jordan Love's match made in heaven at this point. Loves throwing the football because he knows if he throws the ball to Jayden Reed, there's a big opportunity to him coming down with the football. And for fantasy football, we're loving the amount of points he's able to put up consistently week in and week out. Get yourself some Jayden Reed. He is very, very high in my rankings this week. Coming in at number 3, we're talking Malik Neighbors. Now, he still has to clear that concussion protocol. He wasn't able to clear it last week. I think he's going to clear it this week because he's looking at it and say, look, this is what Darius Slayton's able to put up with Daniel Jones. I need to get in there and get my numbers up there too. This week, the Giants ended up taking on a Bengals defense ranks 20th against opposing wide receivers. He should come back from that concussion protocol soon. I think against the Bengals, it's going to be a good game. I think we already know Joe Burrow came out there and said, look, they had a tough overtime loss against the Ravens last week. They're not a championship contender team, but they're going to get to it. They say it. That doesn't mean we can't get to being a championship contender team, but I think he's taking this personal. He's got a team around him that can get the job done. I mean, you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and you're over there losing this many football games. No, not going to happen. I think they get off the snide here. They're going to go out there and rock and roll. And what's going to do in turn is going to make the Giants have to throw the football even more. So I think Malik Neighbors, if he's able to play, make sure you guys check your rosters. Make sure you check the weekly startups. But I think Malik Neighbors does play this week, and he comes out there and he's having a banger of a week. I think just in general, Malik Neighbors is going to get you a ton of fantasy football points. He can run routes. Nobody can stay in front of this guy. Absolutely phenomenal. You see somebody like Darius Slayton going ham sauce. You just wait and see what you see Malik Neighbors do, what he does this week. I love it. Coming here at number 2, I'm going CeeDee Lamb. I love myself some CeeDee Lamb this week. You know the offense runs through this guy. Absolutely runs through this guy. And the Cowboys offense and team should be better than what they are at this point, right? And they're not. And I think that CeeDee Lamb is going to take this personal. He's going to come in here a game against the Lions, right? They are currently ranked 29th against opposing wide receivers. I'm just saying I see Lamb going absolutely nuclear this week. I think he's going to go in there and put a stamp of approval. Last week, he was like, no, it's mostly the Jalen Tolbert show. He's tired of that cock-a-doodle. CeeDee Lamb's going to go out there and go crazy. absolute cock-a-doodle against the Lions. He's going to have a massive stat line. I think if you got him, it is set it and forget it. Easily DFS. Get this guy in your lineup. CeeDee Lamb, a major contributor for fantasy football in week 6. And that means number 1, I've got Jamar Chase. This guy, and it was really close. CeeDee Lamb was almost my number 1. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, look, Jamar Chase, he goes nuclear at any given point, right? He can go in and take a top off the defense. You add that on the loss against the Ravens and the words that Joe Burrow was talking, that he just was tired of losing. I think this week he goes a lot to Jamar Chase, and he's going to have a massive week. This week they're taking on a Giants defense ranks 14th against opposing wide receivers. He can explode on any given week. He did it last week, and I think he's going to do it again this week. I think Joe Burrow is going to hyper target this guy down the field early and often, kind of make a statement game of why they belong in the NFL top echelon and why they should be the contender against the Chiefs for the AFC Championship. I think Joe Burrow is completely tired of losing, guys. But that is my top 10 wide receivers for week 6, guys. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit a subscribe button, leave a comment down below. What do you guys think of my top 10? Is there any wide receivers that you see that should be in there? A quick question. Would you guys put Darnell Mooney over Drake London into your rankings? I'm curious to see that. It was really close for me, but I had to put Drake London in there as well, guys. But we're putting out videos each and every week to help you best dominate your leagues, set the best lineup possible. That way you can ultimately win a championship. That's what we're here about. Join the community. I can't wait to see you guys in the comment section and see you guys on the next video. And we'll see you guys next time.